We're making pasta al tonnato, which simply means pasta and tuna sauce. This is a savory dish. If you don't like spicy and salty, it may not be for you, but I love it. Okay, so we have one 12-ounce can of chunk light tuna in water. Don't get the all white, get the chunk light. I use chicken of the sea, have been for many years. I'm gonna need some white wine. This is Pinot Grigio, it's Cavite. This is really good for cooking. Don't cook with something you wouldn't drink, and this is actually drinkable. And I think this bottle is $7.99. It might have even been $6.99. So I use this a lot in cooking, and I'll drink some of it. We need 2 large onions. We're gonna make a fairly large portion here. Should be enough for 4 to 6 servings. Capers. You can see the light there. I highly recommend Mezzetta brand olives, capers. If it's got the Mezzetta name on it, it's usually excellent stuff. We're gonna have some dried oregano. It should be the dried, not fresh. And my favorite, anchovy paste. I like anchovies. If you don't like anchovies, this may not be the dish for you. So let's get started on the onions. Okay, so we have 2 fairly large yellow onions here. Just going to peel these and chop them pretty coarsely. You don't have to get too fine with this. I'm gonna make a point about dried oregano and dried spices in general. Don't keep them around forever. They tend to go bad. I keep things for a year. Usually when I buy a dried spice, I take a magic marker and I write the month and year on the top. And after a year goes by, even if I haven't even used them, I get fresh. Or I get new, I shouldn't say fresh. Because if you've got something like oregano or onion powder or garlic powder sitting in your cupboard for 5 years, it's not going to be very good when you use it. Isn't peeling onions a pain in the ass? Okay, get all that out of there. As you can tell, I'm not the greatest chef with a knife. It's amazing they let me have anything sharp at all. Okay. And the one thing I did forget in the list of ingredients is some olive oil. I'm going to need that to saute these onions up a little bit. Oops. I know you're all hoping for blood. Not going to give it to you. That's basically it. This is all your prep work. You just coarsely chop these onions and you're ready to start cooking, which we will do in just a second. Okay, so I transferred these onions to a pot that will hold all this substance. We're going to give it a couple of turns of olive oil to saute it. And using a spoonula, or whatever you want to call this, and toss that around a little bit in the olive oil. Keep it over the fire. Medium heat. We want to saute these onions down. We have standing by the white wine, some of which is going into the chef. Capers. Chunk light tuna, which we have already opened. And anchovy paste. You can use anchovies in the tin on this. That's absolutely fine. If you're making a batch this size, you could use a whole tin of anchovies. Usually I don't make this much, so I'm using only the paste, but it's all good. And we want to cook those for a while. Keep stirring them. Medium-high heat. And while that's cooking, I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of the wine. When I make these too hot, I'm hearing a sizzle. I don't really want that. I want to saute them and not brown them. I want to just soften these because they're going to cook in the wine for a while. Okay, those onions are still softening. I'm going to start my pasta here with, this is only for one serving for tonight. So I'm going to heavily salt the water. I use low salt. It's potassium and sodium. It's a good thing to do. Controversial step, and you will get arguments about this from everybody who's Italian. A little tiny bit of oil in the water to cook the pasta, and this is a spray olive oil. Just literally that much, the tiniest bit. It will keep the pasta from sticking together. However, it will not come to a rolling boil, so you have to be aware of when it's about to be ready to put the pasta in. Pasta of choice for this is rotini. Can you see that? I'm gonna work on my lighting. That's my pasta of choice for this. Farfalle works good. Not great over spaghetti. Needs something with a surface to grab up the sauce. So these onions now are softening up pretty well. And we are going to add some wine here. This is the part that was going in the cook. And then we're going to add just enough to basically cover. We don't want it to be too liquidy, but we want the onions to be covered, because we do want to have a little extra nice sauce with this. I'm making a fairly big batch here. It freezes well. I will eat this twice in 1 week, and I will make 2 batches that I will freeze. I'm going to go a little more with the wine. But this is not something I would freeze for 6 months or a year. It's very salty. It does not keep well in a freezer. But a month, 2 months, yes, absolutely. So we're going to let that come to a boil to burn off the alcohol. And then we will get on with it. And we've got this up to a boil here, and we're boiling off the alcohol from the wine. Again, when you cook with wine or with alcohol, period, you want to boil it for a little while to cook off the alcohol, because the alcohol does not add a good flavor. It's everything else that adds a good flavor. So there we go. Now we're going to add capers. Now again, these are Mezzetta brand capers. I highly recommend their products. This is a jar that I had already open. And we're pretty much just going to go in with the whole thing. You always want to have a little bit of that brine. There you go. This can use some more capers. So we'll open another jar. We've got enough brine in there already. I love capers, so you can't put too much in this for me. Oh, that's looking beautiful. Again, if you can get them, Mezzetta brand capers, they're really, everything they do is good. I've been using their stuff for years. I'm going to keep that going. You know what? I'm coming back with some more capers. Got enough brine in there, but definitely want to hit it with a bunch more capers. Capieri. They're very delicious. They're salty. They're savory. This entire dish is salty and savory. So if you like sweet stuff, you're probably not going to like this. But if you like savory, you're going to love this. Get rid of this jar. Okay, that's now cooking well. These are small capers, so they don't need a lot of cook time. I just tasted the spoon. So good. Just keep stirring that around another minute or so. Now here's the controversial part. Anchovies. For this amount, if you bought 1 tin of anchovies, good quality anchovies by the King Oscars or something, that would be fine. That would be enough. It depends on how you feel about anchovies. I happen to love anchovies. An anchovy pizza is my heaven. So this is anchovy paste. It's Reese. There are other brands available. I am going to put a whole bunch of anchovy paste in this. I'm pretty much going to finish off this entire tube. Contrary to what you might think, anchovies don't add an overwhelming flavor to cooking. They tend to cook off. They basically emulsify. Ooh, have a little bit to lick. No. They add a lot of salt. Everything in this dish has salt. You notice that I did not add any salt at any point, and I'm not going to. You can try it at the end if you're really out of your mind. But this is a very salty dish to begin with. If you're salt restricted, I don't recommend it. So now we've got our capers, our anchovies, our onions in there are getting nice and soft. I'm going to let them cook for another couple of minutes, waiting for the water to boil for the pasta. And look at that. Look how beautiful that is. We'll come back in just a minute. Let it cook for a minute, 2 minutes, and then we'll come back for the tuna and finishing up the pasta. And now this has been cooking for about 3 minutes. Everything's getting nice and softened up and cooked together. It's over fairly high heat. Actually going to lower that just a little. The pasta water is just about better, or ready, sorry, for the rotini. It's steamy. You can't really see this because it will not come to a rolling boil with the spray of oil that I put in it. So I'm putting in a portion of rotini. Actually, I'm hungry, so I'm putting a little bit more. A little bit more rotini. And we'll give that a stir. That little bit of oil we put in there will keep it from sticking together. It's a nice healthy big boy portion. Okay, so now we're going to go into the sauce with the tuna, juices and all. And we're going to put that in. This is a 12-ounce can. Again, this is probably 4 to 6 servings for a normal human being, or 3 to 6. I like to eat big. So I'm going to stir that in there. Remember that tuna is totally pre-cooked in the can, so you don't have, it only has to be heated through. But you want to let that marry for a while. Again, this is something that's great as a leftover. You can make it and eat it later in the week. It actually is better with the flavors married, like a lot of things. I will personally have this tonight for dinner, and then I will, while it's refrigerated, have it in a couple of days. Then I will freeze the rest if there's any left. That's basically it, though. The sauce is coming up to a mild boil. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Let it come to a simmer while the pasta cooks. And we are pretty much ready for dinner. Going to make a nice green salad with this. Tomato, romaine, radicchio, onion, and a simple vinaigrette, my favorite thing. So I have tasted this. It is perfect. Perfect. Turn the fire off, taking it off the heat. We don't want to lose all that moisture. The pasta's cooking, and we're going to cover this. We don't want it to get too thin. Perfect. Just perfect. No other word for it. Tastes fantastic. I'm just waiting for that pasta to cook. Just realized I didn't set a timer for the pasta, but it needs a while yet. I can tell by the density. Follow the package directions, folks. Undercook at 30 seconds to a minute, and then finish it in the sauce. But you want to have better to have a little undercooked pasta than overcooked. Now our pasta is almost ready. The sauce is done. We're going to drain this pasta, and then we're going to plate it up here. But here's where the important part comes in, the oregano. You must have dried oregano. I also have some fresh Italian parsley. It's not necessary, but it's nice on top. So I'm going to take this now and drain it. A little bit of that water reserved there on the pasta. Get this out of the way. Beautiful tuna sauce. All done. Smells fantastic. Put that on there. A nice healthy portion. And here's the secret ingredient. You want to take that dried oregano, good bit of it, put it in your palm like that, and you want to rub it so that it falls over the pasta. That releases the essential oils, and that is it. It depends on how much oregano you like. I'm going to cut a little bit of fresh parsley on top. Can't really use too much oregano. It's a good little add to this dish. It is actually the most important thing in this dish. Without the oregano, it's nowhere near as good. That's it. That is pasta al tonnato. It is wonderfully delicious. Enjoy.